Hello and welcome to the Rita Ellen Mirchandani Show. My name is Rita and I am so excited to welcome you here today. Whether you're someone who is new to my work or if you've been following along with my work for a long time, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us here today. This video/podcast is something that I have truly wanted to start for a very long time, and it finally feels like the right time. I would love to start this first episode by really going into two different topics. And the first topic is, who am I and what do I do? And the second topic is, why did I start this video/podcast? And what is my intention / what I hope will be the return that you as a listener get from this podcast? My background story began in 2016 when I was working in corporate America for Marriott International, really planning events. I loved this. I've always loved hotels. I've always loved people. I've always loved hospitality. And I loved working in sales and events. I had just gotten my master's degree and I was living, the life I thought I was supposed to live. And the reason this is important is because back in 2016, I went through a very radical and sudden spiritual awakening. So what I would say that means in my terms is that I had a rapid shift of consciousness. So one day the world was, so to speak, black and white. The next day it was very different. For me, the way that showed up is all of a sudden I was way more tapped into my intuition. I was having visions. I was able to connect with people who had passed away. I was having extreme experiences that I was not remotely prepared for at that time. It took 2 years of really intensive healing and going into the unknown for me to start to really open up to a new world and way of living. That new world and way of living eventually led me to leave my job in the corporate world and to go to Asia for 6 months on my own. I sold everything I had and I just took off. During my 6 months in Asia, I learned so much about spirituality, about myself, and about the way the world worked. This was really pivotal to my journey and eventually what started my process of starting my own spiritual business in 2020. We all know what happened in 2020, and like many others, that rapid transition that was going on in our world catapulted me into a part of my life where I could take a step forward in a direction that I've always wanted to take, which was having my own business. I didn't know what that would look like, but I ended up having what was called an Akashic record reading. And now I am an Akashic record reader / mentor and teacher and a spiritual coach. I've helped thousands of people around the world to connect to the soul essence of who they are and to really move forward in any direction that they want in their life, whether that's their career, their spirituality, their friendships, their relationships, their business. I love diving into all of that through the perspective of the soul and the human essence. I believe that seeing through our heart, seeing through our soul is so important and vital to the future of our planet and to living more fulfilled lives. That's the basic story of how I got to where I'm at and what I currently do. I currently offer one-to-one sessions, group sessions, and I love offering meditations. I'm really big, though, on connecting to the hearts of everyone I connect with and helping those who come along the path with me to connect back to their own heart and the core essence of who they are. That's a little bit about me. And now I would love to tell you the passion and the idea behind why this podcast is starting in the first place, why this video cast is starting in the first place. And I kind of want to start this with a story. So last week I had to hire a lawyer and I ended up finding someone who was great. He was able to make some very basic documents for me. And I realized, though, I want to start hosting retreats. And for retreats, I want to make sure I have the right documentation. So I ended up finding a lawyer who was a specialist in retreats. And she was amazing. She had great expertise, and she ended up telling me in just our consultation so much that I needed to know. So it was clear to me my investment in her, because it was a specialized retreat, because it was a specialized contract, it was going to be worth it. Oftentimes when we make an investment into something, it's not completely clear what the return is when it comes to self-development. I know that your time and your energy is an investment. And so I want to talk a bit about what I'm hoping your investment into this work will lead to a return in. While it's not as clear as with the lawyer, where we know we have a tangible asset being given back, like a contract, I want to talk a bit about how expensive I think it is when we don't invest into our connection with other humans, and when we don't invest into our own journey. It is expensive in our lives when we're unhappy, when we're unfulfilled, when we feel disconnected, when we're not living our purpose. It is expensive to live a life where we are not tapping into the core essence of who we are. And by expensive, I mean that what price are we paying to give up a life where we can be fulfilled and find joy and connect to life in the way that we truly want on a soul level? That is expensive to me. So the return that I hope that you receive from this time and energy and what I hope to put into this podcast and video cast is I hope that you're given thoughts that intrigue you. I hope that you're given thoughts that make you question the way you see the world, but come back to you in a way that opens you up, that unravels you and blossoms you, so to speak. We're going to be focusing on 5 main areas, and that is why I also did not name this podcast a specific name. It's just the Rita Ellen Mirchandani Show. We're going to be focusing on spirituality, of course, human heart-centered connection, which is spirituality, but I know some people don't identify that way. So you don't have to identify as spiritual necessarily to listen to this. Business, travel, and the last one, which might be my favorite, is topics from unusual perspectives. So taboo topics. That's something I'm very passionate about because I believe taboo means misunderstood. And there's so much to be gained by putting yourself into questions that we don't fully understand yet. This is a general overview of what you can expect from these podcast/videos. But it's more than that. And that's why I haven't given it a name. With energy, it's important that it doesn't always feel restricted, that it can become what it needs to become. And that is the return I hope that you receive. Something that touches your heart, something that opens your mind, something that brings you deeper into the core essence of who you are. If we take even one step in that direction, I'll consider this a massive success. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining us today, and I look forward to going on this journey together. Namaste.